1. Are you ready? Nerd Sauce Entertainment presents The Nerd Pod.
It's time for the Nerd Pod. The force is strong with us, guys. Today is going to be something really, really cool. Something that's been asked from the audience is Star Wars Visions. So let's get into episode 1. I think it's probably not, I would say the best.
Season 1,
For
episode 1.
definitely
Episode 1,
For
I would
season
say,
1, episode
yeah.
1. Let's talk, because there's 2 seasons, right? So
Yeah.
season 1, episode 1, The Duel.
So when the first episode dropped back in 2021, I was so impressed with this episode because obviously,
Ronin.
this episode has like homages to like Akira Kurosawa's like
Yeah.
old samurai type movies. The fighting, the design of the Sith villain with the umbrellas with how
Yes.
That was the craziest lightsaber I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
yeah, everything was really obviously using like a Japanese aesthetic of like the samurai, like a samurai village. It's so good, so good.
I like his like the costume he had, right, with his samurai swords and just the way he just when he opened it automatically unleashed a lightsaber. It was like, a legit sword.
Yeah, he was that villain. I felt was a more perfected General Grievous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because just collecting all like the red lightsaber
When he
crystals.
opened it, I was like,
It's been so long because I watched it back in 2021. Was she part droid or cybernetic of any sort? 'Cause I remember
you know, this she was.
I don't remember, but I do remember she reminded me of Ventress.
Yes.
Ventress, yeah.
I mean, it's
That's a
been so
good
long.
comparison. Yeah, but what I liked about that episode is when she was like something about she didn't hear about no Jedis or she's gonna she loves killing Jedis. I forgot the dialogue there, and then he pops out his red lightsaber and it's like, oh, like
Yeah. We'll get into it later on when we get to like the later episodes about like Sith mythology.
Yeah.
The mythology. And I love if they'll explore more of that. More
but they
of that.
need to. There's so much behind that.
I feel like this whole idea, season 1, season 2, just calling it visions. I feel like this is what they should focus on.
Well, you touched big on that, the vision part, right?
Yeah,
And every episode is different.
exactly.
And I love how they called it vision because it's like you're getting your eyes on different people who created different
Yeah.
versions
Which is
of
cool.
Star Wars.
One of the
where-
coolest things is that it's every episode's created by a different
Yeah.
That's
studio.
what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
you're seeing a vision of this person in
Yeah.
the studio, and it's like different lore, different backstories, different CGI,
different art, just different art,
Yeah.
CGI,
I remember
claymation,
Yeah.
different levels of different types.
I remember
of
while
animation.
watching season 1 when I got to the twins, which is episode 3.
Oh God,
That
Twins.
was. I mean, I
my
had fun.
favorite episode.
Yeah, it was Star Wars, but shonen.
Yeah.
Power levels.
Yeah.
But I remember watching that episode. That was the first time after watching that episode. It was great. I had to look. I'm like, is Star Wars Visions canon? Because I'm like, this will destroy all of Disney's power.
What
scaling
makes
in
it
the world.
good? What makes it good is that it's not canon.
Yeah, like
They don't have to.
They're-
They don't have
they
to
don't
crowd
need it.
please.
Yeah.
They don't have
They're
to
not restrained.
nostalgia grab. This is just original stories in a
And then-
galaxy far, far away, which is what we should be
Correct.
getting.
and they're not restrained with their obsession with the
mythos.
The mythos.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even say mythos because it's like they're obsessed with this 60-year time span
Well,
of
it's-
30,000 plus.
It's the commercial side of Star Wars.
We are the public is Obi-Wan
Yeah.
in the library. It seems like these records are incomplete. The records are never incomplete.
Never.
No. You stay within this 60-year gap that we like obsessing
But
over.
it's like-
specifically
I remember
the
we were having this
Skywalkers.
conversation a few days ago, and I was like, I feel like in 10 years we're gonna be like, we're gonna be looking at Obi-Wan's bathroom breaks during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like, what happens between this 1 year time period? What happens between this?
that's-
But you
this,
have to
this?
ask yourself, where was Grogu in all this?
Well, when you have conversations with other people, right, and you try to explain, like, we could talk about Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, stuff like that. There's so much lore behind all that people don't realize. But when you're stuck on a commercial aspect of the 60 years of what typical people would know if they watch Star Wars,
I just
But
call it the Skywalker saga.
correct.
Yeah.
But like us, we nerd the heck out of this.
Like with
stuff.
Star Wars, the legend.
Legends,
Yeah.
stuff from the Old Republic.
There's thousands and millions of years.
Yeah.
There's
Of
always
lore,
been.
yeah.
I want to say Force users because it wasn't always just Sith and Jedi.
Yeah, they're just
Exactly.
which is like a religious
It's kind of
organization.
like how
around it.
we do politics. There wasn't always a Democrat and
there's just
Republican.
not two forms of
Correct.
yeah.
So when you go back that far, you can't explain it to certain people because they'll just think about the Skywalkers. Oh
Yeah.
I watched Luke Skywalker before. You know
Yeah.
what happened before Luke Skywalker, before Yoda, before
Yeah.
all the Darth, the Lord Siths and all
like-
that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, there's so much that.
The guys with the red swords are bad guys.
yeah,
It's always
and then that's not always. That's not. If you look back, it's not always true that because there was different colors of kyber crystals.
I mean, there was a few episodes here. Obviously, the twins was the first one.
For season 1.
Yeah, when
That's my favorite.
When they actually bring in like Sith users using an actual red lightsaber that were more, layered than just I'm wielding this lightsaber, therefore I'm bad.
Yeah.
The twins, obviously, we have the white-haired, basically Luke.
and they were both born into
Yeah, they were
being Sith.
They were an experimental Sith
Yeah.
magic alchemy thing.
So they were born into hatred, but at the end of the day, they're still technically human.
Yeah.
But I like the brother, that protagonist. I see it, and the sister is the antagonist.
Yeah.
And his power saber that goes.
The other one, another episode that I really actually no, let's keep touching on that because
No,
it's
'cause I was gonna
funny.
mention- I
It's
was
like
gonna-
Dragon Ball Z Star
first
Wars.
thing
like a
The
Kamehameha coming out of that lightsaber.
The first
man.
thing I thought of was when when they're fighting in space, when the boy twin is out there, and I'm like, I remember when people were watching Star Wars, The Last Jedi, when Leia finally kind of floats,
Yeah.
and people were like, oh, she's dead, and then she just
Yeah.
starts flying towards
How
the ship.
is that possible? You can't do that.
and I'm like,
being a Jedi.
People were like, "This is crazy. How is she doing this?" I'm like, just if you watch this episode, like he blows her out of the water.
I mean, not even, bro. Just read if you just briefly skim a few of like the Darth Vader comics and you realize like the actual powers that like Darth
That's what I'm
Vader and
saying.
like and especially Sidious have in the comic
Sidious,
books.
I think in the comics, that's like a force,
his
like
force
storm, like
lightning
in
is
space.
crazy.
Hurricane
Yeah.
or some storm thing, yeah. And let's not even talk about like legends.
So yeah, this character, the brother, he destroyed that going into hyperspace. Got his lightsaber ready
Being outside
in
the
his-
ship
this-
in light speed.
chilling, ready.
Yeah, this one, that twins had the most, over the top action, but it was fun. For
I
what
enjoyed,
It is. We skipped before
the
he
Rhapsody,
continue.
yeah.
I don't have much to say about this one.
It's fun.
It's cute.
That's it. It's fun.
I had fun. It was cute, little band.
When I saw that in the beginning, I was like, "Hey, Joe, is that Obi-Wan when he was little?"
I loved how
Then I realized, yeah, he got blue hair.
Where was Grogu in all this?
Yeah.
I loved how Jabba the Hutt looked in this one, and his friend that's always with him.
Oh, I
That's
can't stand
don't know if you
that
can
guy.
see the camera.
Studio Ghibli Jabba.
I don't know if you can see the camera. Yeah, I like the animation in this one. It was fun.
It was pretty cool. The whole song and everything. It's like and what was nice about that, they stood together as family.
Yeah.
That was like it was fun. It was super fun. Sometimes everything can't all be grim, dark, and just lore expanding.
Yeah, or be like, the galaxy rests on my choice.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
yeah.
have to bring. I mean, I think that's why
Bring the stakes
Mandalorian
down
when,
to,
when the first season of Mandalorian dropped. I think that's why people were like, oh yeah, finally. Not like there's like a galactic
galaxy and
span
Pearl.
war, and it's like if you look at like the First Order fighting against the rebellion, it's like 40 versus 40. I'm like, where's everyone else in
Yeah.
the galaxy?
Where's this galactic war?
Yeah,
Yo,
it's good that they
but
brought it
that's
down.
all we know of from watching
Again.
the
Yes.
Skywalker saga. So when you jump into Visions, I'm glad we're touching base on this.
Yeah, because we didn't get to talk
this whole
about
different
Visions. And,
world.
It
yeah,
is.
and then you
We're
see-
actually getting the galaxy.
exactly different
different-
worlds. We already know about species, right? There's so many species out there, but you're seeing the different concepts on the visions of different creators, right?
Exactly.
The platforms,
Exactly.
like what episode is the one that you touch space on? The two reaching out to the stars and how
Oh, that's
that was
in
in
season
season
two.
two.
the,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
force,
Yeah.
they're connected
It's-
with them in
it's-
some way with the paint and all
Yes.
that. It was so aesthetic.
Yeah.
With the
Look, I was
scenery.
gonna tell you for season 1, my favorite episode, personally, was the 9th Jedi.
Yeah, that was my
That
The
was
only
good.
and you know why? Because one of the biggest aspects that we've gotten, right? Like if we talk about Star Wars and the aspect of watching the original trilogy or the prequels and like the new trilogy. We're just consistently fed Jedis and Sith, right? So
Yep.
what do we know? Jedi, Siths, lightsabers. And the cool thing with that episode was it was this perspective of a lightsaber smith. You know, and I remember I know
was like
you
one left.
I know you remember, which was like the episode in Clone Wars, the animated series, where the kids are going through like the
they're going through the trials.
The trials
to get their own
crystal.
kyber crystals, and they're depending on, I guess, like the trial, they'll get a certain color.
So I've always felt that there seems to be a level of, because let's be honest, the Sith and the Jedi, they're a dogma. There's a specific. They're all uniformed. They're monks. There's no individuality necessarily between them. And the only time you see any level of like real individuality is each one gets to build their own lightsaber. So their lightsaber, it's treated almost like how Marines treat their guns, where it's like, this is my weapon. I'm not nothing without my weapon.
Their own personal preference.
Yeah, so it's nice where like it's never really been touched on in just the main series of Star Wars, right? Because you get especially the way they try to treat the lightsaber now in the new trilogy. Like, oh, this is Luke's lightsaber.
Oh my God.
But it's like you've never had a moment at all in any of these 3 trilogies where there's an emphasis and focus on one of our heroes creating their lightsaber, right? To really show an attachment to this weapon that is pretty much like their defense,
just in those old Republic trailers. Have you ever seen the Star Wars?
Yeah.
There was one with twins creating their own lightsaber. I'm like, they go wild with those animations with those trailers. I'm like, why don't you just create an animated series with that animation?
You look, and it was with that episode, the Ninth Jedi.
One thing I think,
you get that perspective of like a legit lightsaber smith,
and
right?
the color, and also which I think was interesting, the color of your lightsaber depending on because I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, blue was like usually Force users.
Yeah.
Like Obi-Wan leaned during like being connected to the Force, and then green lightsabers were usually people who are really good at the actual like forms of the lightsaber combat. And when I forgot the daughter of the lightsaber smith, when she first activated,
it was
like a dark, but it was like there was a greenish
like
tint
hazy,
to it, like a hazy green until she was fighting one of the Sith.
She was good,
and then it turned green, which I thought was pretty interesting
because she was good with the lightsaber. And I'm glad you brought that up because that was another favorite episode. Because you see that this is all the Jedi is pretty much gone, right? They already killed them off. The lightsaber is like an ancient, pretty much antique now, right? You can't really find them anymore. So you got the lightsaber smith, and then the one guy at the end, once they defeated everybody, it turned purple. So he was like that Mace Windu. He was like in between because he had that rage, but at the same time he was able to control it. So he's like stuck in the middle between Jedi and Sith.
Yeah, I like that they did that.
See, that's what I'm saying, where I enjoy this because again, Jedis always have been kind of the futuristic representation of samurais. And my understanding is that samurais also like will name their swords, right? So to the point where people would see a specific sword and be like, "Oh, that's blah blah blah, the East Wind," some whatever. I just feel that the Star Wars universe has really locked in their ability to kind of more like hone in on the mythos of the lightsaber.
I'm glad that they've changed it up because
Visions I feel like has touched on it, especially with the Ninth Jedi, and you just see more unique lightsaber designs.
Those are actually
throughout season 1 and season 2, and I really appreciate that.
That was a good one to show the different designs on that episode because there was a bunch of them made. But I like that they gave the guy that was actually good the only one before the girl brought the lightsabers.
And the final shot of the episode is they're like going away from the asteroid. The camera flips and it's like a lightsaber going into the planet. I like which really encapsulates the lightsaber episode.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. That was a good one. That's a good one to
the next one. How do you guys feel about the basically Astro Boy one?
That was it's different. You've seen a different visions of the creator.
A droid being a Jedi is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's different.
It had it was a cute animation. I liked it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of
was a classic.
I feel the same way.
Growing up.
I feel the same way for this episode, the way that I felt about the Tatooine Rhapsody, which is it was fun. I can't talk anything bad about it.
No. I don't think there wasn't a bad episode in Visions, like season 1, season 2. It just comes down to your preference, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with
on-
that. I
Yeah,
really
like,
can't
what,
point
like-
out like, oh, that was a bad episode.
Yeah,
No,
like
it's-
the flavor of the story. Like, do you like the like Happy Go Lucky? You have Tatooine Rhapsody. You have like
The twin style.
you have the
and
Call to
is mine.
Adventure, which is this Astro Boy one, which is called TOB1, which is like basically Luke in episode 1 when he's just like at the what was it called the farm, the air, it was like an air farm or what?
yeah, I can't remember
But
what they call
whatever
it.
they were
Yeah.
growing or collecting, but yeah, just bored on a
Dew
farm.
farmer, right? Wasn't that
Something
what
like
it
that,
is?
yeah. Collecting moisture in the air,
Yeah.
and so I like this one because like basic, back to the basics of Star Wars, like
Absolutely.
call to adventure.
Yeah.
You're bored on a farm and you want to like see the galaxy, and the next one,
And the romanticization of being a Jedi.
yeah,
Yeah.
like just being like him imagining being a
Hero of
Jedi
the
fighting
galaxy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know if you noticed, but in a lot of the episodes, you really don't hear Jedi and Sith a lot. Only in some of the episodes.
Yeah.
You don't hear that all the time. Obviously, you see the stormtroopers and the battling and whatnot, but it's usually just them, like with the sisters, right? They're
Yeah.
using force powers and whatnot.
One thing
But they're
Vision's
not talking about force powers.
Yeah.
You know, that-
yeah, because they're not directly. Again, I go back to what I mentioned earlier. They're not part of the dogma.
Correct.
They're not part of the dogma.
That's
Because
what I
as mu-
loved about it.
Yeah, because it's funny how I always thought it was funny how the Jedi try to perceive themselves as like, oh no, we're trying to no, bro, like you, there's a it's religious,
Religious, yeah.
It's religious, like the same way the Sith are. You know what I mean? And I like when it comes to these because through visions they show you different Force users that aren't connected to. Hey, are you a Jedi or are
Yeah.
you a Sith? No, it's like there's
It's more
other
like
ways.
a
to
family
perceive-
thing if you think about it with those.
and it makes sense too because there's those moments where I remember watching like a theory video, right, where midi-chlorians, right, or like whatever the Force.
is that
everything-
still considered canon?
I don't know. Well, it's the prequel.
well, I mean-
is it not? So,
No, but like the sequels have not even mentioned it whatsoever.
No.
Mandalorian hasn't mentioned it.
I don't care, but it was said. It's not that
yeah,
they
yeah.
could go back and be like, hey, Qui-Gon, no, you can't say
I mean,
that.
because
Yeah,
remember,
You
Star
know?
Wars Legends was canon too.
Yeah.
Until Disney acquired. I think. I don't know. I think it is.
Anyways,
I think it is.
Long story short, what I'm trying to say is that pretty much the perception in Star Wars is that there's this force in the universe. You can train to mend it, which is what and wield it the way that the Jedi, the Sith use, and other. But the point is that everyone can kind of tap into it in their own way.
Yeah, but you don't
And-
have to be a Jedi or
Yeah.
Sith.
Yeah, like there was like
And
this thing
What's
that
your boy from
One way of
Rogue
like
One?
utilizing
Huh?
it.
Who's your boy from Rogue One?
from Rogue One.
Rogue
which,
One.
Which one?
The blind dude.
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen,
yeah,
yeah,
Donnie
yeah.
Yen's character. That's
Yeah.
cool. No, but look, I'm gonna mention someone too where I've read like this theory, right, where they're like, no, everyone can tap into the Force in their own way.
Okay.
They're just not aware of it. Like a good example that they used in this like theory, I think it was a video that I watched, is that Han Solo taps
Yeah.
into the Force,
Yeah.
which is
That's
why
why
he's
he's
able. Yeah, well, how
Yeah.
he's like, I never listened to the odds. That
I
whole
never
thing.
missed.
Yeah.
It's because he uses the Force while he's
Yeah.
piloting the ship, which gives him an advantage. And I like that. I like that thought. And it goes
Oh,
off
same
to
thing with
They said the same
with
thing about
Finn.
Padme.
Remember Finn?
yeah.
Same thing with Finn.
Yeah.
Said he was
Like that's why stormtroopers are always missing because the Force is like slightly doing like small
terrible.
movements.
Even in visions, bro, they were terrible.
That's what I was saying. I was gonna mention that. Like when
I'm like, dude,
you
they
mentioned
could-
something.
One of these creators.
So it is
could've-
canon.
dude.
Like, I'm like,
Come on.
these guys are trained in this imperialistic
Well,
like
well, I was
childhood to
thinking,
become
like-
the greatest soldiers for their empire. misses.
One of these creators on one of these episodes should have made one of them be a good sniper or
Yeah.
something. Nothing, bro. Not even the bro.
I know. I mean, if you're part of the imperial regime, you automatically, if you're wearing a white armor, you're automatically suck. It's every other division in the Imperial
It's
Army that's
terrible.
better. The Death Troopers, the droids, everything else shoots better than than white cloaked stormtroopers.
The episode who did it the worst was season 1, episode 4, The Village Bride. In that episode, some guy, he had like some sort of helmet. He was on a cliff. He throws the helmet. I'm sorry, those are droids. Droids should even be better, if anything. He's just standing there, 4 droids shooting at him, all missing. I'm like, how's this
I'm like,
work?
how?
The Force works in mysterious ways.
Just walk in
Somehow, Palpatine's retired.
Exactly.
for real. But episode 8 was pretty cool. That's the one I was mentioning about.
Lapinocho?
Yeah, because it's cool because you
I
have
hope
that
I said
samurai.
that right. I feel like I didn't,
Lop
but
and Ocho.
You have that samurai dad. He has that adopted the pretty much the protagonist in that episode.
Yeah.
And the sisters, more towards the dark side, but she's strong because she tries to escape. Well, she got mad because the dad handed over their family lightsaber sword, and she's like, "Oh, you don't deserve it," or whatnot. She's like grabbing the spaceships while they're trying to flee.
I love when these type of shows focus more on the atrocities that the Empire commits, because aside from in the main movies, the main stuff we get, it's the Empire destroying planets, which that's like insane.
But it's harder to imagine like a beam destroying a whole planet rather than like seeing someone like Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan show just
mowing down
random villagers.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool sword. If you're looking back at it, like
you see what I'm saying? Where I like how Visions has really made the
it's
lightsaber
not your typical metal hilt with a beam.
Yeah, because even the beams themselves,
they change size, which is interesting.
Size and curvature. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
You saw it in I think one of the best episodes of season 1. You also saw it in The Elder, which is season 1, episode 7.
I like that show. That episode was creepy.
Because The Elder was actually creepy. Like I like the Sith.
Bilbo creepy. When reaching for the ring.
I love the dynamic between the Padawan and his master.
Yeah.
Like those.
That's how you're gonna look when you're older.
You can't see his eyes, but I loved his Sith eyes.
He turned on to his.
That's that type of villain that he be like.
Yeah, he has like two. When he takes out his lightsabers and activates them. At first, I thought they were daggers.
Yeah.
And then during the fight, the length changes, which I thought was pretty cool.
So I have a question. I don't know if it was in episode 8 or if it was in the Twins. Which is the one where whoever the Sith was trying to pull down the ship? Because I got confused with that.
Season. You're talking about season 1?
Yeah. Was that the Twins?
On the ship.
Or was it?
I know. I can see the scene in my head. I can't necessarily pinpoint it.
They're trying to take off in the ship. And trying to.
Do you think it's episode 8? Lop and Ocho.
I thought it was, but I'm confused. It's probably episode 2 or 3. The Twins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Twins. He cuts an Imperial ship in half with a man, what is going like? Man, this is like Dragon Ball Z levels of Jedi's now.
That was so good though.
It's fun. It's fun, but it's like it would be hard. For example, the 9th Jedi. I would love a whole series.
Yes,
that, right.
Yes, I would.
The Elder, that type of world, cool too.
The hologram with the little the visual effect of that the one that called them all. Did you think he was like sketchy looking?
I mean, I think obviously it was the red herring because you have the robot with the red eyes. You'll be like, oh, that's clearly the Sith.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because Star Wars, a minute you see anything red, that's the bad guy.
As soon as they showed them, obviously, the first thing I thought, I'm like, oh, that's clearly the Sith. I'm like,
I don't think they'll make it.
I didn't know he was inside the actual droid. I didn't guess that, but I knew. I'm like, this is way too obvious. I know there's going to be a twist.
Yeah, it was a good twist.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, because basically all of those Jedi's that arrived, they ended up being Sith.
So let's go on to the first episode of season 2, though. Sith. The
Man.
Sith. That was a good episode.
Yeah, just Sith. Yeah.
Because it just gave you that. Well, there's nobody on the planet, right? Where they just show the girl with the droid, and then that Sith bounty hunter looking.
One thing I gotta say about Star Wars is that they always know how to create a droid that doesn't say a thing, but makes you connect with them.
Yeah, they've always been good at funny
buddy.
Enough. Yeah,
and when that Sith Lord guy came and was fighting her, and he tore the droid. Bro, it broke my heart. Dude. I was like, oh, why did he have to die?
They always go for the
why
droid.
Did the droid have to die?
Yeah, they're the Star Wars dogs. You never want to see a dog get shot like in a movie or anything.
In Star Wars, you don't want to see a droid die, especially if it's one of your favorites.
I love that she was able to put him back together.
Yeah.
But I love that episode, just the whole art aspect of that episode.
The best part of that.
And I like how they did it where she was using the same rock and I like it too because she was an ex-Sith.
Yeah.
That's why you kept saying like she was having trouble with her balance.
Yeah.
Her painting herself like turning black.
Yeah.
To colors.
And she was fighting
like
the rock,
the darkness within.
The rock she was using like brown, and then like it kept going. It'll just get darker until it got to black. And I loved that representation, especially through color and art.
They did it right, especially putting her alone because she's trying to figure herself out and trying to find the balance. And you can see how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to fight being raging and being crazy.
Which I like because obviously, you know, at the end when she activates
But
the other,
just look at all that art, like
the other
crazy.
side, the other side of the lightsaber. When she activates the other side of the lightsaber,
Yeah.
and clearly she found a balance. If this was like a main, a
She had
sequel,
she had yellow, right?
yeah.
Yellow and then red.
If this was a sequel movie, they would always like force either like Rey being like full blue and then Kylo
Yeah.
being full red. Like it's fun finally seeing like, okay, just bring a balance. Like
Yeah.
Sith aren't just like I love killing dogs. Like just like the
I love evil.
yeah, the most like
man.
the most like
Evil for evil's sake.
mustache twirling like cartoon Saturday cartoon villain. Like I'm evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun
Nah,
seeing more
that was a
complex
good one.
characters.
Just the
It's
the
like
art.
it's nice seeing more complex characters, right? That's what it is because the world isn't black and white, and that's the biggest thing where people wish the world was black and white, but it's not.
No.
You
And I
know?
like that a lot of these episodes it's emotional, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
an
yeah.
emotional. It doesn't have to be bad or good, but there's a reason behind these creators creating these episodes the way they are.
Yeah,
Each episode has its own life to it.
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Which again, it's the beautiful aspect of creating a series where every episode is made by a different studio, right? Because that's the thing versus telling one studio,
you have, like,
hey,
one
you
vision,
have
yeah.
10 episodes, right? Versus, hey, where we would like for you to make one episode of your vision of Star Wars. That's why you can
that's-
kind of
that's
look at
perfect that they
every
made it.
individual episode and you're like, that's kind of a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like that's like very good. And you can think about it. These episodes, I think the longest one is maybe 20 minutes. And
I
within
think 25, and a lot of these are 14.
from anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, these
crazy.
studios are giving you way more character development that you saw from Finn in over 4 hours of
No,
film.
actually, no. You had a lot of character for Finn. Ray! That's all you got. Yeah, him screaming Ray. Yeah. Jesus. Oh my god.
She don't want you, man.
She's over there with what was it?
Swallow bed.
Swallow bed.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Swallow.
Swallow.
Oh, I'll never forget that.
God,
image,
so
man.
You've
dumb.
caught me in my workout hour. He's all glazed,
Yeah,
like
no,
a Krispy
We
Kreme
always
donut.
keep going back to the sequel. No, but that next
But no,
episode.
it's great because the touching on like the word vision just gave you
Screech,
that.
Exactly.
The next episode.
Can
season
I
2.
say something
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
Screechers?
Yeah,
Reach?
Screechers. Yeah, this episode was. What were we gonna say? I
the
love this
people,
episode.
the people that I don't know how the producers plan to roll out these episodes, but I want to give like a special shout out to episode 1 Sith and episode 2 Screechers Reach, where episode 1 Sith is about someone who went away from the path of the Sith to episode 2 someone going to the path of the Sith. I think that connection,
Yeah.
what it does to you internally, it just the way it made me feel because it wasn't. You realize
like that
this-
first montage when the episode started. I loved how that first montage started with like you see like the girl, like she's the one like on the like twisting and like it started like malfunctioning and clearly seeing. It was almost like a 2D game in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah,
those 2D platform type
Yeah.
games? I love, and then it switches the perspective of it. I love that part, like showing her frustration with the current her life at that point.
Yeah. You know, they're child workers in a factory.
Yeah.
It's like 1920s Birmingham.
Yeah.
You know, and I enjoyed it because, again, it adds complexity to these characters,
Yep.
right? Because you're not evil
Facts.
for evil's sake, but she chooses to go down the path of the Sith because
That was the only way out.
it was the only way
Yeah.
out. She understood what she was doing, you know. And I liked it when the Sith mother, I think it's what they
Yeah,
call
Sith
that
mother, yeah.
character, where she walks out of this ship, and when I think the character's name is Dalan or something like that. The point is that she looks at the Sith mother. And she goes, "Oh, I can't bring my friends." And at that very moment, like the eyes turn to the typical Sith yellow. Like no, like you know what I mean. You have to let that go.
Yeah,
you know,
you gotta
and
walk
you could see
away.
her like her eyes waters up, and she was just like, she went down this path not because I want to be evil. No, it's a path out of necessity. Because even though she's going down this dark path, it's still a better. It's still going to be a better life than what she's living right now.
That was
Just
that,
working day in and
that
day out.
part.
So that's where it gets philosophical because then now you're just like, damn, did she make a good decision or a bad decision?
I mean, no.
Well, she left her family. Well, whoever was there, like
Yeah, well, she considered family,
Yeah.
right? These friends, because your assumption is that she's pretty much an orphan, if anything.
Yeah.
And these kids rally together for survival and just to feel good, you know. And the monster, the ghost in the cave,
That was crazy,
was a good
man.
representation.
Oh, man.
Was a good
Of
representation
where she's
of
probably
what
going
she's
to end
feeling.
up. Oh, where she's probably, I think, where she's going to end up too.
a whole explanation of what it is to be a Sith, right? Because within the shadows, you're looked at as a monster. But once that light is shined on you, that anger, the hatred, all
And the
this
fear.
stuff. No. Hold on. That anger and the hatred, all
Yeah.
that stuff, when the light is shone upon it, you realize that at the core, it's fear.
Yeah.
And fear is just, it's weakness.
Yeah,
and you saw it because
she
the
looked
way
so
they
different.
the way they drew the ghost in the
Oh,
darkness
so good.
was
Yeah,
intimidating.
it was like a creepy episode. Those parts.
Yeah, it was intimidating. But once the light shone on this ghost, you saw it was pitiful.
Such a dark episode.
Yeah.
But I felt bad for her because it's like she was been told by that with the medallion, right, to follow this path, and not realizing,
Yeah.
okay, this is the dark path, and then her leaving the family behind, and it's like they don't want her to leave.
Yeah.
Funny note too, just to say when the Sith Mother arrived in that ethereal ship,
We-
It
It
reminded me of like, the Celestials, right? From
Yeah.
the Clone Wars. What were we gonna
yeah,
say?
but it specifically reminded me, like the ship reminded me of the monster from Nope.
Like
that
I have to look at the picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like this, like it looks celestial. It's
Yeah, yeah.
ethereal, celestial,
like
looking,
bioorganic type thing going on. Yeah, that's
it
cool.
was. I saw when it was coming down. I was just kind of like, whoa, that's so. What is that? Like at first, I was like, is that a monster, or another
Yeah, 'cause
ghost?
which
And then I
make-
realized,
which-
like, oh, it's a ship.
Which makes
That's what I'm
sense because
saying,
remember that one-off episode where Obi-Wan and Anakin end up being on that weird planet with the
And
the
the Clone
father,
Wars, right?
Clone
Yeah.
Wars,
Oh,
the
yes.
daughter.
Like the Trinity of the Force.
The Trinity of the Force,
species
yeah.
that
I think they were
that
called
does the
Celestials,
clones.
right?
Yeah, they're the ones that do the whole
Which makes sense
clones
because they
operation.
were on a ship, but the ship was clearly like a bioorganic planet ship thing. Yeah.
Yeah, in the water.
It makes sense where like even her designed Mother Sith Mother.
Sith Mother.
They kind of gave me that vibe of them.
Yeah, the appearance
Yes.
of especially gave me the
That's a good
vibe of the
episode.
Sith.
It was a very good
dark
episode.
and gritty, but
Yeah.
emotional.
Yes. The next episode was the one that we were talking about,
Yeah.
Matt.
That was
and
actually
the
good.
reason I really
So
it's
good.
in the stars. And the reason that I enjoy this episode a lot is because again it shows the atrocities of the oh my god, the Empire. Right?
Dude, they slaughtered everybody, man.
You had, it's a nice story, not nice story, but it's a typical story of imperialism and colonialism.
Yeah.
You know, where okay, you have
Stealing
this,
all the water and pumping that
yes.
pollution back into
Yes,
the
and just
planet.
completely destroying
The environment,
this
the planet, and
and
seemingly
the
block-
native people.
them two only being the last ones left from the looks
Yeah,
of
But
it.
you-
because they give that beautiful little story, which
Yeah, with
they
the mother.
kind of almost represented in like cave drawings.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of like ancient our
But that-
ancient ancestors.
The art that the little girl was using, was she obviously
From the
used
paint, mixed it with the water.
The last little bit of water she had. Remember apparently the way that paint worked was it was only
It was connected to the stars.
Yeah, it was
the
only
force.
be able to be seen through when the stars are shining through, and
Yeah.
then with the pollution you can't see the art.
yeah.
Yep, that the Empire was blocking all that.
And I personally thought at the end of the episode,
Dude, those stormtroopers are pissing me off. They were shooting them.
the force works in mysterious ways.
Couldn't hit them.
But honestly,
so many.
I think there's a
Dude,
a
really?
possible interpretation of the end was the two girls died
I think so too.
because
Yeah.
clearly that whole factory thing exploded at the end. Whole water like
Like a tsunami?
engulfed them. And remember the last episode, the sky clears up. And it's almost implied as if they joined the stars.
Yeah,
with
because they're
their-
like,
with
oh my
their
God,
mother.
you
Yeah,
see the star.
the mom joined.
Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly think that like a
But
valid
it tells you right
interpretation.
there that species was one with the Force.
Again, we go back to that where hey, it's not just the Jedi and the Sith that are Force sensitive, right? They're not the only ones using the Force, let alone calling it the Force. There's other interpretations of the Force throughout the galaxy, and this is beautiful. Why? Because it makes sense. Because it's the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
There's Jesus, a bazillion different cultures and species here.
I want another desert planet. Star Wars is obsessed with
You love sand.
bro. They had like four.
I don't like sand.
Four
It's
desert
coarse and
planets.
it gets everywhere.
4 desert planets. Give me a fifth one, please.
Give me a fifth one, baby.
Please,
Fifth
God.
one. Give me a
That-
fifth one that's an orphan and somehow is the second removed cousin of Palpatine.
Palpatine
Somehow
survived.
Qui-Gon returned.
Imagine that. The next,
Somehow Qui-Gon
the next Star Wars movie comes out, you hear Palpatine in the background. Dude, just die already, man.
I mean, Star Wars Legends is notorious for that. He has like 30
Bro,
clones.
he's Voldemort.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Horcruxes everywhere.
He's always had like a backup clone somewhere.
Yeah.
So we have the next episode, which I think
what did you think about I'm Your Mother?
I feel it's similar to season 1, which it's cute. It's similar to
Yeah.
Tatooine Rhapsody.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it because it reminded me of Chicken Run.
It had a lot of it had a lot of Easter eggs.
It's claymation, right? That was
Yeah,
claymation.
it was kind of like claiming.
Yeah, it really reminded me of Chicken Run. It was a funny movie.
I like that movie.
yeah.
That's good claymation.
But it had a lot of little Easter eggs.
That was the
What
that
is
was
it?
the most
Is
Easter
it-
egg filled one.
Isn't like Coraline kind of like claymation too?
Yes, no, it is.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
I got a little bit of vibe, but
Yeah.
the
I
graphics.
I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. The Easter eggs were fun. Like what was it? Like Luke's lightsaber was in the episode, I think.
The first, I think that one of the first shots is like that little, the little hooded figure. What did it call?
the Jawas.
Jaw was like getting a core or something, like running away. It was a fun, cute episode.
Yeah, that was cool.
The next one is one of my
Yes.
favorite ones.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Season 2, episode
Journey,
5.
yeah,
So
Journey
I
to
will
the
say-
Dark.
Journey to the Dark.
I will say this. Journey to the Dark Head is my favorite episode from season 2. This is my favorite episode. This is the direction that Star Wars needs to go. New characters, new plots that steer completely away from the congested, once again, Skywalker
XVX.
saga.
One thing I really liked was the beginning of another organization, obviously about the Force,
Yeah.
with the girl, the main girl character, which is she's like a monk of some sort.
Yeah.
They're like in a monastery,
Yeah.
and
with these two statues with the water
Yeah,
that
yeah.
comes down,
The
hits
way-
these stones, and they briefly
Yeah,
have
yeah.
like prophetic images of either the past. Well, no, they said it because it was
Yeah,
either
she's-
it was
she's-
either the past or the
Yeah,
or the
She's,
future.
she's like a heavy duty mechanic.
Yeah, that was I'm pretty sure that was like a time skip because she starts off as
Just like a young girl.
like
Yeah.
an acolyte of,
Yeah.
of a monastery. A young girl. They don't say how many years passed, but the point is she's
doesn't like the dogma of
Yeah.
of the monks where she was
Yeah.
like, no, we should be telling the Jedi this to
Yeah.
win the war. We're losing the war.
Yeah, and
you
then
know?
years later, she's a mechanic, and then she goes to the Jedi.
Yeah.
This new Jedi Council.
Dude, that ending was dope on that episode, man. That's probably
Yeah.
if I will have to go with you. This is my favorite out of season 2.
That's what I
Hey,
first.
you know what I
was
liked about it?
stuck between this one as my favorite episode for season 2, Journey to the Dark Head, and Screecher's Reach. I
The
was stuck
reason
between those
why
two.
this one, the creators didn't hold back with the darkness with this, right?
Yeah.
When they he chops a guy's head off.
Yeah.
I was like, they let this slide.
Yeah, it's animation. That's why I prefer animation, bro.
But it
because-
was so good though.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
your typical animation from Disney.
Yeah.
This was like legit, like dark side. I'm cutting your
That's
head off.
why I will forever push animation versus live action because you can get away with a lot more in animation
so
than you can in
good.
live
I mean,
action.
to this day, when was the last best live action lightsaber battle we've seen? For me, it's still Revenge of
Mustafar.
the Sith. Revenge of the Sith.
yeah.
Yeah.
Battle,
How many
Battle
years has that
Mustafar.
Dude, we were like in diapers, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is wild to me. I'm like, how have we not gotten
Yeah.
a better live
Yeah.
action lightsaber
Yeah.
fight?
No, that was-
And
that was a
Vision
good
at this
fight.
point, how many we've gone through? 14 episodes?
Half
How
of
many-
them.
Countless lightsaber
Yeah,
battles.
I'm trying to go through in my head. Yeah, really
Yeah.
good lightsaber battles.
Look,
over
and-
the top with the twins. You got more grounded, like the Ronin.
Ronin was-
yeah. So like you have a mixture of all these
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
lightsaber battles.
What did you think about the Jedi in this one?
I loved it. Why? Because it was this
I like
mix.
I liked how he was like kind of like like a Padawan that was like in a mixture of like anger.
This is a beautiful example of why Anakin's a loser. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, he was too emotional. They made his character so emotional,
but
man.
that's it, bro. But humans are
yeah.
emotional.
Know what I'm saying?
you know,
but like on like a whiny emotional, right?
yeah, but that's good.
You know?
This,
No,
this
it
is what
is.
I'm saying. We're like,
yeah, I
this
think
kid
what-
is emotional too, but he was able to overcome it.
Yeah.
You know,
he
and
didn't, he
that-
didn't succumb to the dark side.
And my favorite aspect of this show is remember the end game here is we're gonna blow the dark side head,
Yep.
right? And what I liked about it is that at one point they look at the statues and they're both mixing. And
Well,
then
opposite.
They were both a mixture of both.
yeah, they were both a mixture of both.
Yeah.
But it goes back to, it's never about the Sith winning or the Jedi winning.
Correct.
They both need each other to survive because there needs to be a balance in the Force. Because one can't overtake the other.
Yep.
Good. Let's
that's
not
the
even
crazy
say
thing.
good.
That-
It's not even good.
That was their whole goal. It's one to
Darkness cannot exist without the light, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's like the
And I wouldn't even say Jedi versus Sith. It's light versus dark. Because
Yeah.
Jedi versus Sith is just an interpretation.
Organization.
Well, that
An
was-
interpretation of Jedi is an interpretation of light, and Sith
It
is
goes
an
back to
interpretation
the
of the dark.
prequels and all that stuff. That's where they messed up. Where like they didn't know the Sith existed anymore. They thought they were gone.
Yeah.
No, the Sith have to exist because it's gonna be balanced.
Yeah,
you know.
see, but that's one of the big. Well, I think we
That-
talked about it. Where it's
yeah.
like that's one of the biggest plot holes in Star Wars.
Which one?
Just like the Sith haven't
Like
been
with
around
Yoda,
in a
not
millennia,
sensing every-
and it's like then the most powerful
hasn't
Jedi
been- yeah.
in a generation is Yoda. You're gonna tell me that
He didn't know.
no one can sense at least something? No one slipped up in 1,000 years.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like
You can't be the rulers of Force users, right?
Yeah.
There gotta be some dark users out there.
Yeah. Again, this is like the good part here, right? Where it shows you
See,
different aspects.
His eyes went going yellow, then it changed back. And
Yeah,
I'm
I like that they do that, man. Yeah, and it was fantastic, and it showed. Johnny, can you look up real quick how long that episode was?
it was probably
Journey to
one
the
of the
Dark
longest
Head.
ones.
Let's see if it says.
But it's just insane to me how short of a time these individual studios have. And you look at this specific episode,
Yeah.
look how much character development you
so
got.
good.
I think the Jedi's name in this episode is Tool. Tool. Look how much
Yeah,
character.
Tool.
Look how much character development he had.
TOUL.
I was shocked with the amount of character development he had.
No, it was good.
In 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And-
IMDb doesn't have it. Yeah.
And you look at some of these multi-million-dollar funded films that can't even get that right. And how do these studios...
We had like 6 hours. Again, we're gonna go back to. We had 6 hours of Finn. Right.
even Ray herself.
Yeah, which is weird. We had like more time with Ray, and even then, I feel like Ray is not even characterized in those those
No.
three whole full feature films.
This is what you have to do.
You need to have-
even the monk girl. I can't remember her name, but the monk girl. You saw her development. Every
Ara?
single
I think her name is
character,
Ara.
every single character at the end of this episode grew. Their characters reached a different arc.
Yeah, it was this episode and episode 2 of season 2, which I would love to see like a whole season about.
Yeah,
And
like
then the thing
individual
is,
seasons.
like, well, I can't speak on the directors and producers and all, but you don't have to spend hours on a backstory. You can
Yeah.
incorporate like how they did with Visions, seconds, minutes worth
Yeah.
of dialogue and little animations, and show so much detail.
Look, a good example.
crazy.
A good example is Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first one. How Galadriel does I think a 2 to 3 minute long
beginning.
explanation of over God, I don't know, thousands of years of
Yeah.
lore, and you're just kind of if you go read the Silmarillion, it's a hardest read, and you're just gonna be like, wait, what? Galadriel sums it up in 3 minutes. And you're like, okay, now I can
got it.
start
yeah,
Lord of
and
the
that's
Rings.
all you need.
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't have
all
to
you
get
need.
complicated.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to get
But I think
complicated. For the people that want to, go ahead,
Yeah,
dive
go-
into
yeah,
it.
go
But
into
if you
it.
want if you just want a bulk of audience to be on the same page, easy.
And that's
Easy.
what we need, especially for Star Wars, right?
Definitely.
And I think Visions lay down the foundation.
Yeah.
because
This last season was a few months ago.
yeah,
2023.
no, and then this is like the foundation, right? So I hope Disney goes down the same path and let these studios keep creating this
Original
world.
pieces of
Do they
work.
have any-
Yeah,
That's the thing.
that
Original pieces of work.
And-
Instead of trying to add and nostalgia grab.
correct.
I mean, they already had planned the new sequel
It's not-
trilogy is going to be
Yes.
Ray building.
But my thing
yeah,
is-
so that's already.
But
Yeah.
they're focused so much on CGI, right? Because that's what Star Wars is about in live action,
get
right?
it.
It's CGI
Yeah.
because you can't
You can't
do
do-
starships and all
Yeah.
this crazy Death Star. But if you do animation, you can kind of do what they did with the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
All these Jedi Masters that we didn't get to see in live action. We got to see how Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Mace Windu.
You know what's
all
funny
these big
about
people.
what I think? Because like Order 66, right? I feel like at 10 years, if Disney keeps going the same route, it's gonna. I'm like, did these people even kill any Jedi? Because they're like just introducing. Oh, I actually survived.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually survived. I survived. I survived. Like,
Well, in the
how many
comics,
Jedi got away?
we got a lot of those comics, but Darth Vader went on a hunt and
Yeah.
started killing a lot
Yeah.
of them.
That's like
The
probably
whole
the
Darth-
darkest moments
the whole-
of Darth
Yeah.
Vader. Yeah.
If you're gonna read any Star Wars comics, like the Darth Vader comic line is really good because
I think there's one where he tries to kill Palpatine, and Palpatine
Yeah.
he just kicks his
Destroys
ass.
him.
Yeah.
You know, there's that saying or there's like background that Palpatine kind of like hijacked his armor or whatnot.
I
So
think
he could never be trained.
No,
or
I
whatnot.
could
the armor-
totally
the
see
armor-
that. You're talking
I
about the
think
guy
it-
who had the chips installed in all the clones. Come on,
Like his armor was never the latest or up to date.
he's constantly in pain. Anakin
Yeah.
is because
And he
I
did
mean
it on
he could
purpose.
just get he could have been like a General Grievous type, just get
Yeah.
cybernetics, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it gives him the worst suit.
Yep, just on purpose. But yeah, so far so good.
So
man.
next is we got episode 6, season 2, the Spy Dancer.
I
This-
love. I
this
really
one-
that
enjoyed
one
this
was
one.
dope. Oh
Your
my
favorite, your
God.
favorite show, the Andor about his sister.
Something about his sister.
Yeah, so I mean, I loved Andor because of like the more like espionage, like more on the ground.
But this gave me
guerrilla warfare type, and this
this gave me anime vibes
And
because
I-
of the whole with the rap, and she's just like,
Nah, that rap gave me. I was like, ooh, Circa Soleil,
Yeah.
secret agents.
yo,
like
That
the
was-
animation's very pretty. You have a kind of like French resistance type of like
Yeah.
feel,
Dude,
espionage.
those stormtroopers look like
Intrigue.
crap though, man.
No, it's just the art though. I enjoyed that art. It's
I was like, dude,
It reminds me of like the closing scene art of Jujutsu Kaisen. You know,
yeah, yeah. That's like a good closer with a good song.
What did you think about the ending?
I
Like,
love
being the
that
son. That's
that
crazy,
story
man.
was so good, especially with the twist where you're like, oh, she's gonna see this admiral or this officer. I'm sorry, this officer that took
'Cause it
her
looked
took
just
her
like-
baby, you know, and then when she right before she lands that final blow, she realizes where it's like, oh, who are you? You know, and she realizes, oh, that's her son. And if you like, I love how it ended where he looks at the little hologram thing and it's him, and then he puts it down and you can see that she put a tracker on it.
Yep, that
You
was
know?
a crazy thing. I was like, oh,
See, that
now
again-
they could pick up off that. And,
See
and-
again,
and
like
make-
like he said, this is
more
another
story.
episode where I'm like,
They
that
do
would be a good series.
They do rebellions right. It's
Yeah.
not like again like I keep going back to the rebellion of the last sequel trilogy, the last
Ray!
movie, right? And 40 guys fighting like in a desert
Yeah.
or wherever they were.
No, they need to give credit where credit's due, and these studios that got involved with these projects need to
give them a long
Give 'em
term
a-
series.
yeah, give 'em a contract.
Give them
Yeah.
10 episodes.
This one-
give them a 10 episodes, one season
this
animated
one's-
series.
This one's tied maybe for
Even
my
if it's-
second or third favorite
even if it's a
episode of this
season-
season.
Same.
even if it's just if let's say one season, 10 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Like to create it. This is not counting. This is kind of like the prequel to stuff.
Yeah.
Give us what can happen after, right?
Yeah.
Because there's always like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So why not? Man, give them a contract, 10 episodes per season. I'm telling you, you're gonna get more people signing on
Yeah.
to
And do
Disney Plus.
do this like one shots, man. Do one shots. A season, 2 season. Tops.
Done.
Drop it. The biggest problem in my opinion, in the industry right now is that everyone wants to keep going.
Everything's meta. Everything's meta.
Yeah.
Everything connects to everything else.
I think
It's-
we can all say everyone loves the Infinity Saga, but the Infinity Saga from Marvel is to blame for this. Everyone wants a 10-year producing project,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's like no
Multi-universe.
one's. I feel like no
But
one's
we
ever going to
gotta-
recreate that
but
correctly again.
This is,
What are you
this
talking
is
about? DC's doing it.
But check this out. But this is the problem with modern society. With you always got to have the same actor in 20 different movies. Give these
Yeah.
guys, and I'm sure a lot of these guys in here are not famous, they're not big, and there's a lot of talented people out there that can create their custom fan made production videos that we
Yeah.
see online, and they get no credit whatsoever. But then you want Chris Pratt to play a character because Chris Pratt's
Yeah.
known, or you want The Rock in every movie because he's known. No, man, you gotta.
Yeah.
Just
Come
imagine
on,
The
man.
Rock as like a Sith.
But it's like
Let me tell you something.
You're,
He could be
and the same thing with
Bane.
with-
Is it Bane?
yeah,
Yeah, it could be Bane.
But like, you want the same director to direct this movie, because they have a good. But sometimes they shouldn't put their hands in it because that's messing up the art.
Yeah,
but,
and it's just like stop trying to nostalgia grab. And I get like these studios at the end game is just a lot of money.
it's about who you know.
It's a
and
lot
that's
of
the
money,
problem.
and it's like, come on,
me.
bro, just make some art. Just make something that you at the end of it you're just proud of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could look back at it and be like,
Dude,
that's a good project right
these
there.
These 2 seasons speak for itself.
Yeah.
If they continue
And if-
doing this type of work,
And if they do something canon, you know, in
Yeah.
canon, like I would love like an animated type series during the Old Republic.
there's
Look.
look more than half of these episodes they can make an extension to.
Yeah.
Look,
Look,
example,
example.
Old Republic with original characters. 'Cause
Yeah.
everyone's going to say, "Oh, Darth Revan." Like,
exactly.
no, just original. Like we're talking about like the
No
Old
connection.
Old Republic is what 3,000, 5,000
No
year time
connection.
span.
No connection.
Look, example. Season 2, episode 7, Bandits of Gulag. My goodness. What
That was
a
a good one.
beautiful breath of fresh air to get the Star Wars universe mixed with Indian culture.
Dude, that was a crazy
Oh
fight.
my
man.
god! And I love how they did it too, because like I know trains.
That was a good one.
Like we're on the train, and then when they get out,
That Sith guy was pretty.
bro, that's an
pretty
Inquisitor.
awesome,
Yeah.
He had. My god, and the Inquisitor was so good. You can see it. He was the Inglorious Bastard guy hunting like the Jewish people, like that. He in Inglorious Bastard,
Yeah, yeah.
the Inquisitor. You could see him hunting anyone that's Force sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was
He was
wonderful.
looking for
And
the
then
girl.
you-
Where's the girl? Or
yeah.
whatever.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah.
No, and then like the way he did it to kind of get them to react. Yeah. So I went to the village that they apparently came from,
Hey,
and I burned it down.
Yeah, he slaughtered everybody.
Everyone is dead. You know, and it's just kind of. Oh my god!
Yo,
and
Yeah,
and
these
then,
episodes really like
and
flesh
then-
out making the Empire scary rather than like
Yes.
stormtroopers
See,
missing.
Yeah.
it's,
all the
this
time.
is this is the type of things that I like, because you really see the atrocities
Yeah.
of the Empire.
Oh yeah, it's
You know-
slaughtering villages, people, and then just hunting down the Force users. But I like, Granny came out, man. She took her little cane, man. Was like,
Yeah, I have it. There's a picture here.
Yeah. And then I like how everyone's a dual wielder now.
yo,
Yeah, that's popular now.
Dual wielding is the meta.
see, I wasn't expecting that when I was watching that. I was expecting probably somebody else jumping in, but I didn't think she was gonna kill him.
See, I like that though, man.
That
I
was,
like that
like,
because
legit.
it's like how
Because usually the old person, they die in
Yeah,
Star Wars.
They're
They
like,
usually
I'm not
kill-
in my prime.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
Well, just in the live action, you've
Yeah.
seen it. All the old
Yeah.
Force users and Jedi's, they die, but I'm glad they kept her alive.
I like this. I like this.
And then the water and the secret door, and it's like only a path to for the girl. I'm like,
and I like how it ended
oh.
with the flute coming back up.
Yes.
Oh God! See, like that's another episode where it's like, wow, this is a whole. I don't know what
Well, yeah.
planet they're on.
Yeah,
They
But
can continue that
like,
from-
just use different again, because obviously they've been using a lot of the Japanese aesthetic. Obviously, the first episode of the first season, but like going with like more of an Indian aesthetic. I would
'Cause
I
even
would love to see
episode
like
two-
a Mayan aesthetic.
Because even
Like, that would be really cool.
even
nice.
episode 2, the Screechers Reach, it had a lot. I think it was Irish, right? Like it had an
Yeah,
Irish
yeah, like,
influence. So I like
Irish.
how they're taking different cultures,
Yeah.
and
Even-
pretty much building a world,
Yeah.
a Star Wars world with said culture. I think that's beautiful. Because
Even when the
it's-
Sith mother arrived, she seemed like I forgot the name of it, but in like Irish mythology, like I think they're called the Seed Hood, something like that. But basically like fairies. Like I mean, the others from Game of Thrones are
Gotcha.
basically ethereal.
Yeah.
Like she arrives in that ship and she's like kind of glowing. You know,
Yeah.
it's that appearance like using other myths. That's why I mentioned like
And
something.
I'm-
Imagine like a Star Wars world with like a Mayan mythology.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I
Like,
like
some
it 'cause
like
it's-
jaguar looking like force use. I don't know.
Yeah,
You can go
it's
wild.
different, and it goes down to like the Sith ain't just like your typical Sith that we know from live action or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like the mother,
Yeah,
she's a
yeah.
Sith, and she's like a whole different being. You know,
I'm
it's just-
enjoying the fact that Visions is really expanding what it is to be a Force
Yeah.
user.
No, for sure.
And a lightsaber user. And I guess if anyone questions, well, why do the lightsabers keep having to be red? Well, they're red because these characters are corrupted.
Yeah.
So they corrupt the Kyber crystal, which in turn turns
Yeah, because
red.
I always had the impression before all this was the Kyber crystals were like if you were mining or however they got the Kyber crystals, these are like the red Kyber crystals. And
Yeah.
that's like it's
Well, that's how we know from
that's why
the
I thought
commercial side
and
of
I
things.
prefer this
Yeah.
because it really connects it
Yeah,
more
you're-
to being a force user
Correct.
weapon.
Yeah.
You know,
And it
it's
would
not like
make
anyone can
sense.
just
Well,
grab it.
force and your emotion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
So
know.
it changes the color, it changes the length of it. You know, it
I
changes.
love that. I love
I
the
think
fact
it's
that
more interesting.
I feel like it adds a lot to battles if you're battling someone and throughout the battle, you have dialogue throughout a battle and your lightsaber is changing colors and like length
or power or
width and everything.
I mean, I think that to this day, one of my favorite lightsaber looks is Kylo's like longsword,
Like a claymore type
claymore, and like remember the Kyber crystal
Yeah.
was kind of like cracked or whatever. That's why it was like
Like
it was always kind of like
Beaming, like it was like on
cracked.
fire.
Fire
fire
it was always
crackling.
like
It was like
cracking.
crackling. Yeah. So the next
Last
episode,
one. I think
no, we
it's,
got two more. The
two
pit and
Oh, that's
Owl
right,
Song.
the pit.
The
See-
pit is pretty much
Yes.
I was born
Oh,
in it.
well, yeah. talking about mining
prisoner.
Kyber crystals.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Yeah, exactly what you said. Yeah, I was molded
the
by it.
darkness.
Yeah.
I was born in it.
I was born in the darkness. No,
You simply
and it's cool that
adopted
there's
it.
two different sides to it, right? You got the trials of getting, the Jedi's going, getting the Kyber crystal.
And once
right?
again, the atrocities of the Empire.
Yeah.
Dig a hole.
But now, like after Order 66, they pretty much stated like there was no more, right? Because they kept mining it for the Death Star.
Yeah.
So every planet they went to getting the Kyber crystals.
I really enjoyed this episode simply again of the fact that it shows you how twisted the Empire is and how they treated people across the galaxy and why there was a rebellion. Because again, it goes back to that idea where it's like, this is a rebellion? Like, so
It's 40 people.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
So this is the type of stuff that you see where there was a rebellion across the galaxy. This is why the Empire lost its footing. Because it had how many battles and how many
it spread
fronts?
itself way too thin,
Yeah.
treating trillions of people horribly. I mean,
yeah,
do you-
blowing up planets.
Yeah.
what do you expect?
Yeah.
Terrible.
And I liked I liked the whole humanitarian aspect of it when like the city came to realize what was happening.
Yeah.
it was just like that whole thought process of I don't know, people won't help anyone and just kind of ignore it because they don't want to deal with it.
No.
But I enjoyed the fact that the regular people stepped up to the clone troopers and forced them out. And even the clone troopers, they were just stormtroopers. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I keep saying clone troopers, stormtroopers. The stormtrooper, one of them looked at, I guess what I would say would be the commanding officer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do we do? Are we gonna take these people out? And you saw the commanding officer, even with a helmet on, you could tell he was just like, we can't do anything here. If we did something, this will really pop something off. Like, from a rebelling aspect. So it was like, let's just get out of here. I enjoyed that episode from simply off that.
Yeah, that's good. Good lore.
Before we get into the last episode, Owl Song of season 2. I mean, season 2 I think is more consistently good than season 1. Like, what would be your least favorite episode of season 2? Because I think
It's between, honestly, the last episode.
I'm gonna be the last episode too.
And
I wasn't
between the
a fan.
last episode and I Am Your Mother. The chicken run one.
Yeah.
Even they were fun. They're good episodes. Yeah.
they're not bad. So that's what I mean.
See, like those will be the series that they should release for kids.
Correct. I was just gonna
Right?
say that because you can extend that and keep continuing with the lore and the story behind it, but you don't like. I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, like Owl Song, I'm not a crazy fan of the style. The
I did
animation
like this
style.
character.
I do like what I do like is like the texture of their appearance. Like so, like you can almost see the cloth itself, which is
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. Overall, what would you think?
Season 1, season 2. Okay, let's go back to season 1. What was your favorite episode for season 1?
Twins is dude, hands down. Twins.
Oh yeah, for
The
me,
season 1, and then we'll compare it to season 2.
for me, it
for the
was the
overall best
ninth,
episode.
the ninth Jedi. I mean, the ninth Jedi for
Let's
me
see.
was my favorite episode from season 1.
This one's hard for me because for me, the Ninth Jedi, I would love to see the Ninth Jedi and the Elder. I would love to see like a whole season just those stories continuing.
Yeah.
But just in terms of aesthetics, just the look of it,
The duel.
the cinematography of it. I'm a huge Akira Kurosawa movie fan.
Yeah.
I think for me the duel will
biased. Go
duel
with
number
episode
one.
one.
Yeah, and then Ninth Jedi and the Elder tied for spot number 2 of season 1.
Season 2, I'm gonna go with Journey to the Dark Head, of course.
Yeah. For me, season 2, Journey to the Dark Head. And personally, I would say a close second would be the combination of watching episode 1 Sith with episode 2 Screecher's Reach,
yeah.
because I feel like it touches on two heads of a coin, which is
Too big.
the Sith.
Yeah.
You
Too
know?
For me,
big
for
Sith episodes.
Journey to the Dark Head, close second. But for me, I have to choose Creature's Reach because Creature's Reach again, like
Screecher Reach is good.
For your best, for the favorite?
favorite for season 2. Just like I love the look of like a new like ethereal looking Sith rather than like
dark cloak.
What? It looked like a wraith.
I'm evil. Like, it's like it's just screaming I'm evil. Like
Dude, I was like,
this
dude,
almost felt
shut
like
up already.
I don't know if there's like an episode of Adventure Time in there, like
screaming
or, like,
the whole time.
The guy like from you know, when in the Hercules movie when he goes to like Athens or whatever, and the guy opens up his cloak and is like, "You want some watches or something like that?"
Sundials.
Yeah. There's an episode of Adventure Time that's similar. Like, you kids want some magic powers, and like Finn's like, "Sure, yeah." Like the generic Sith looks like that. They're just like, you want some dark powers? Like, oh wow, the most obvious no in my life. But Screecher's Reach for me, like the Sith again, like I think because of the look, using the Irish or Celtic mythology kind of reminds me of, because I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like the use and aesthetics look of that, I love. So I would have to choose Screecher's
That's cool.
Reach.
I think that's good.
I will say too, episode 7, Bandits of Gulag is a little special for me too.
We gotta have one favorite. That's it. Man.
One
That's-
favorite is Journey to the Dark Head though.
Journey to the Dark
Journey
Head.
to the Dark
Journey
Head.
to the Dark Head.
Screecher's Reach
Okay,
for season
that's
2.
not bad.
And then now, all right, comparing Journey to the Dark Head for you guys to your season 1 favorite.
Ninth Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go with the twins.
For season 1
for
and
both,
2?
For both.
Yeah.
Twins.
For me, Journey to the Dark Head still.
Overall.
Overall.
Okay.
Yeah,
for me,
overall.
the duel.
The duel. Yeah.
I just love, it was
No,
just like,
I will-
and I didn't even mention, I think there's like a scene when the Ventress type of
Character.
Sith, when she's like rising, it's like a straight same shot of similar to Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
So like there's so many homages to like the duel that it's just it's
For me,
so good.
For me, it's Journey to the Dark Head, and my second one will be the duel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think touching base on Visions was really, really good.
Overall,
I think
I will say this too, Matt, where in terms of Star Wars media, this is the best thing
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
I will say
So
this is the
far.
best thing that Star Wars has put out.
The last
And
when did the first season of Mandalorian come out? Because I think first season of Mandalorian is up there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Right now, the two most successful things that they've released for Star Wars is Visions and the first season of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Specifically, the first season of
Yeah, the
Mandalorian. I've
Alright.
enjoyed the rest. It's been entertaining, but it's of Mandalorian, but it's been on a
Oh my-
steady decline.
How did we? Gee, I don't know how I didn't mention an Andor.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
how did I
I'm
not
sorry.
mention
So
Andor?
for me, it's gonna be Andor.
bro, we're going off topic with these.
No, because now we're just talking. No, we're just talking
just like
Star
the-
Wars.
just
now,
Star
man.
Wars?
Just
Now
like
we're just talking
we're
Star
talking
Wars
like the
media.
Because y'all lost me with that. I'm like, what are we?
It's
Wait,
something
wait,
about
wait.
a sister.
I'm like, bro.
we're talking about like so far. This is like the best thing that Star Wars has released. So,
Yeah.
Well, I'm
for
not
me-
gonna say Andor because I didn't understand it. Man.
Visions, season
Yeah.
1 of Mandalorian,
Okay.
and then
Oh,
Andor.
gotcha.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
overall, the last like
Oh, the
I'm not gonna-
most recent releases.
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
the last
yeah.
2 years, 3 years, right?
Yeah,
Well,
because
we got Ahsoka coming up, so that's gonna be
Hopefully-
switching up.
hoping that it's okay and
Yeah.
decent, because I was excited at first, but I will not lie.
all good,
Now
man.
I'm worried now. I'm just worried.
No. Well, we're gonna get into an episode with that, and let's not open up that can of worms because Ahsoka's my favorite character. So I'm not gonna let George talk about her like that. You know, I love Ahsoka. But yeah, I think Vision was good overall.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Can't wait to see more of it. If they come out with season 3.
Pretty sure
You
it's
know?
coming out at least maybe a year or two. I
Yeah,
imagine.
I'm hoping for more of this.
More of just original
the art,
stories,
man. Yeah. I'm
original
okay.
stories, new ways,
New worlds,
to tell stories, and
new
with animation.
new interpretations of the Force. Just looking at the galaxy in different perspectives, different angles.
Yeah.
Not like another desert planet.
different,
That's what you want.
different.
I actually wouldn't No desert planets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind like a Cowboy Bebop, Star Wars type of world.
I want like
desert
a Trigun world.
But then I stopped myself. I'm like, no, we're not gonna have another desert planet. Come on.
No, I think it's good overall. All right, I think that's it for the episode. Tune in next time. If you have any questions, just drop it in the Q&A, and we'll get to you next time.
Thanks for listening to The Nerd Pod. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're there, help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review. We'll talk to you next time on The Nerd Pod.